Now, the Congress winds up today and our reporter Latika Burke is there. Good morning, Latika. Just how was Bill Kelty's speech last night received?
Good morning, Karina. Well, Bill Kelty is somewhat of a legend in terms of union circles, so last night's dinner was all about him. It's a very rare time when you see Paul Keating playing second fiddle to someone, but certainly that's what happened last night. PJK was just the warm-up act for Bill Kelty, and Bill Kelty gave a really quite a lengthy speech, but it was very sober, it was very considered, it was very thoughtful, it was very passionate, and there were many in the room who were simply hanging on every single word, and it was a speech that really carried the night.
And in terms of what he had to say about the Labor Party and as well as the opposition, he said not to blame the media and that the opposition was simply doing its job.
Yeah, this is an interesting insight from Bill, because the government has tended of late to blame all sorts of external factors for its own problems. It's blamed hostile media and cites some right-wing arms of the media for not giving it a decent enough run on its policy issues. It talks about the opposition incessantly sometimes, saying that it's all the opposition's fault that they can't get some of their key policies through, say for instance on asylum seekers, because the opposition is being obstructionist. But Bill Kelty's message last night was stop blaming everybody else, look at yourself, and let's look at how we can redefine Labor and reevaluate where Labor goes from here. And that was probably the strongest message in all of it, that he said sometimes we're just making it too difficult for ourselves. And my take on that was that he was referring a bit to political communication and how tricky that's come, how focus group tested that has become, and how that can almost isolate people yearning or wanting to hear from a political leader what their vision is.
And let's talk about some of the things that have come out of the Congress. The new ACTU boss, Dave Oliver, has asked a former federal court judge to lead a review of corporate governance.
Yes, this is the real meaty issue to come out of ACTU Congress. Obviously, Karina, and we've been talking most mornings, the Health Services Union scandal and the maladministration of money that went on in that union has really been a pall that has overshadowed a lot of the proceedings here at ACTU Congress. But the union leaders here are determined to do something about it. They are determined to stamp out any corruption, which they say is very limited in the union movement. And yesterday we saw some really fiery, passionate speeches about union corruption. There's a lot of anger at the Health Services Union for what they've done to the union movement, what they've done to the Labor brand and tarnishing it. And there was certainly no one willing to speak against the resolution to set up an independent panel chaired by a former federal judge to basically look at all the systems unions engage in when they're using members' money, how they spend it, who's paid what, how they pay for big projects and the guidelines around that. So basically, unions, if they're not already, will have to tighten up their act and act a bit more like a corporation and make sure all that money is tested before it's spent.
And Latika, Bob Hawke continues to be a superstar amongst the Labor faithful.
Yes, look, I think this was the absolute highlight of the night, and I can't really do it justice, but at the end of the night they called Bob Hawke up to the podium, Karina, and said it was time for Hawke the musical, and on cue he sang the union anthem, Solidarity Forever, and let me tell you, Karina, there was some fist pumping in the room. Let's see why.
When the union's inspiration through the workers' blood shall run, there can be no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. Yet what force on earth is weaker than the people's strength of one? For the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong.
So, Latika, is that the equivalent of Barack Obama slow jamming the news on Jimmy Fallon's show?
Look, I think for Labor, when all else fails, bring out Hawke and get him to sing.
Latika in Sydney, thank you very much.
We have a couple of tweets on Bob Hawke's singing abilities there. Ash writes in, move over, Obama, Bob's got a mic.
Ah.
And this other one, untitled, please, no more Bob Hawke. Please, no more. Can't promise that. I think it's great.